Welcome back to my little exploration of Skywind. I just want to show you this little road sign. This is the most dull thing, I guess, for people who aren't interested. But look at this. Back in Morrowind, they used to have these kind of blurry signs that you couldn't read because they didn't have. Pick up that crashwood. They didn't actually have the capabilities to have lettering and textures on these things, because it used to run on the original Xbox. Now, of course, they do. All these plants and these crashweeds, and you notice the plants are very blockish and squarish. And that's because they've been directly, I mean, it's kind of a charming thing, I think. Because that was what the alien landscape looked like. Everything was blockish and squarish, and that kind of added to it. Let's pick up some more chokeweed and crashweed as well. Nothing actually disappears. I mean, in Skyrim, of course, the plant textures change when you pluck them, so that you know that they've been plucked. Snap here, and this is the little imperial town of Caldera. Well, it's kind of imperial high rockish. But you can see, if they ever did a high rock DLC, this is what it would look like. You would have all the towns looking like this rather than the Nordic looking towns. These imperial guards. These are imperial guards. And let's see what the pubs look like. Let's go to Shank's Shovel. I don't think there's ever a mission in here, but it's quite interesting to have a look around. Yeah, it's kind of bright. It looks very Oblivion-like, I think, and people don't tend to sit in the chairs. They sit at the backs of the chairs.
What do you want?
What do you want, cat? And the bars look pretty cool as well. Again, lack of music, and I apologise for the lack of Morrowind music, but what I might do when I edit these videos, I might just splice in some Morrowind music so you get that familiar, classic feeling to it all. Now this is Gorak Manor. Let's see if we can unlock this. Oh, someone can see me. Someone's looking at me. Let's unlock this. Because back here was a character. Well, there's lots of orcs around here, but back here was a Dremora or Oblivion character. Now I can't remember what his name was. But you could sell items to him. There he is. It's a Falmer though. He'll probably, yeah. That is not a good thing. Because what you used to have problems selling all your gear. So one of the secrets was this guy that you, and there's also a giant mud crab that you could actually sell items to, and they had massive amounts of gold, and this guy used to buy items from you for an extremely reasonable price, so you basically at face value of what you had. So he was a good source for gold, and I used to use him. But it's kind of a cheat in a way. This person's running away. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's not labelled. Of course, when they find they haven't actually got all the scamps, that's what he used to be. He used to be the scamp, some sort of scamp merchant. And there used to be a giant mud crab merchant, but I'm sure that's just a giant hostile mud crab somewhere in the Scadian Isles. And there's lots of little shops around here. There's a pawnbroker. There's a tailor over here as well, as I remember. Yeah, there's what's called a clothier. And lots of little houses, and there's an ebony mine around the corner as well. So everything is included. Let's have a look in the Mage's Guild, because I used to come here quite often. There wasn't any fast travel back in them days, so one of the things that you needed to do was you needed to go to the teleporter woman who used to stand in the corner here. right here.
Need something?
And she used to offer you teleportation services, and you could teleport to any other Mages Guild. Of course, the lighting and the bloom in here, it all looks pretty awful. You know, it kind of makes me squint. And they've got a, well, I'm sure they're going to change a few things to tone down the lighting in these places, but otherwise, it's pretty cool. So that's Caldera for you. I'm just going to wander over one of the missions, of course, one of the early missions. I think one of the Fighters Guild missions, which you had to do to gain experience, was to go investigate Caldera Mine. And one of the cool things, rather than having random encounters, you always got a bunch of people walking back from Caldera Mine. I guess they were scripted to walk back and forth, carrying some ebony. And what's this? Is this a naked Nord? Yeah, these naked Nord characters used to be all over the place, because look, some other square flowers. These naked Nord characters. So I think there were about 2 or 3 naked Nord characters, and what they did was they had their clothes stolen by a witch, or they raped a witch, and you had to help them out, or you had to kill the witch. Well, kill the witch, or you could help the witch. Yeah, it's one of the two. Anyway, entirely optional, up to you. One of these wilderness quests. But yeah, you had to finish in the original Morrowind. You had to actually finish all these. Look at that. Do you recognise this? This is Skywind, which you get in Dragonborn. If I look in my inventory, is it going to crash everything? No, I've got Skywind. I've got Crash Fibers. I've got Chokeweed. So they all work as they're supposed to. And so there is Caldera Mine, and here is the Bosmer, who used to be all aggressive towards you. He was a Telvanni agent or something like that, and he lived in this mine. But that, let's have a quick look down in the Ebony Mine. You could also, I recall, go down this really, I mean, they had a lot of imagination back then. And all this LOD doesn't look particularly good. Obviously someone will add in grass when and ash when they actually upgrade the mod, but it all looks spectacular. You don't get games that are so well done like this. It's a mining bunkhouse. Let's have a quick pop in here. And this looks a lot nicer than what it used to look like. What's that sound? Because back in the original Morrowind, that was a proper horrible slaving place. But I guess they've changed a few of the textures around and just transferred it over to. Well, actually, I can't remember. They don't directly kind of transfer, like turn Morrowind beds into Skyrim beds, but they do something else. I think they just transfer the textures directly. So maybe it did used to look like that. But all this looks very bleak. And I don't know if you've noticed one thing, is that the whole atmosphere here is somehow subtly different from even Solstheim. And I wonder if they've actually done Solstheim. I wonder if can wander over there. Perhaps in another video I'll wander all the way over to Solstheim. I'm going to check the map. Hopefully that doesn't crash everything, and I'll see what we get. Now look at this. This place is huge. You got Balmora. Oh no. It's a bit of a scam, because this world map is basically based on Skyrim. But look, this is a throw to the world. This is where Lakeview Manor would be. I guess this is exactly where. Oh, this is actually where Whiterun would be. So they haven't actually done the world map. I got quite excited there that they'd built this whole world. So you can't fast travel anywhere. So we just have to wander around and find somewhere. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to wander over to Caldera. In this mod, of course, none of the nav meshes have been built, so you're not going to get attacked by anyone. I'm going to wander over to Caldera and see what that looks like, and I'll also wander over to Vivek. Oh look, they've got the castle for Caldera. Hang on, 1 second more. We'll just go have a look at the castle. This is, of course, what happened in Morrowind. You used to have to click on these things, and that will tell you where they're going. But I'm sure someone will change that eventually. I want to have a look in the castle and see what their castles look like. I don't know if you're particularly excited about this, but I'm vaguely excited about this. Now let's get in here. This is the Governor's Hall, and this is what... Whoa! Everyone in the nude. Lucky I haven't got my adult mod switched on, to be honest. Because they would all be sporting very odd looking... being odd looking and naked. All this brickwork is very Morrowind-like. It doesn't... I guess if you look closely, it just looks different from Skyrim because there's not cobwebs everywhere, and everywhere is not covered in moss. And you can wander up these stairs. And you used to get a lot of stairs like this, and this is pretty much what Fort Frostmoth used to look like. Very kind of similar to this architecture rather than the awfulness that there is now. Anyhow, I'm gonna pause the recording here. I'm gonna wander over to Caldera, and then we'll wander over to Vivek next and see what's going on.